Hello, and welcome back to another Chris McPherson Show Daily Dose. It is time for Cricket Daily on the 23rd of January, and there's plenty to talk about. There's international cricket, there's T20 series in domestic competitions coming to their peaks. There's some T20 series getting underway as well in the international cricket, and much more. We've got the Under-19s World Cup as well. If you like getting your cricket dose every day, make sure to hit like on the video, hit subscribe on the channel, and hit the bell notification down below. That's how we can keep you up to date with all of your cricket that's happening across the globe on a daily basis. But let's start today with the start of the England and Sri Lanka one-day international series. And it's fair to say that England ran into an old-fashioned spin bowling choke in Colombo. Sri Lanka's composed batting set the tone early for a victory, headlined by Kusal Mendes with 93 from 117 balls. They realised it was difficult for batting. They didn't try and rocket along or race to any sort of target, just being composed, calm, and structured. A total of 271 certainly looked decent without being a daunting chase for the English. And unsurprisingly, on that spin-friendly deck, Adil Rashid was the pick of the English bowlers with 3 for 44 from his 10 overs. And it is fair to say there were some glimmers of hope from England in their chase pursuing 272. But four Sri Lankan spinners sharing 6 wickets between them was too much in the end for England to overcome. And despite scores of 60 plus for Joe Root and Ben Duckett batting in the top 3, England fell 19 runs short of said target and left a victory to Sri Lanka's taking. It was an English side that's made so much of their intent to play attacking cricket under the Baz ball modern era that they love. But they spent much of their chase stymied by Sri Lanka's attack, unable to lift their run rate above 5 and over. To be fair, England never really got ahead of that run rate in their chase, and the pressure continued to mount. After a solid but far from flashy start with that partnership at the number 2 wicket for Root and Duckett, eventually both trapped LBW by the Sri Lankan spinners, and it collapsed and never recovered from there. Jamie Overton gave them some sort of sniff when they needed 20 for victory from the final over with 1 wicket in hand. But when he held out second ball, it wasn't to be, and it meant Sri Lanka have a 1-0 series lead in the one-day series in this lead up to the T20 World Cup. So the series will move on, another clash in a couple of days, and we look forward to talking about that in the lead up. We now move on to the West Indies and Afghanistan. Look, to be fair, the West Indies added some pride here. That's about all. In a dead rubber final match of the T20 series against the Afghans in Dubai. And without Evan Lewis, who was out with a neck injury from the second T20, it was a reshuffled batting lineup again for the West Indies. Sent into bat, standing captain Brandon King again got things going for the West Indies, tallying up 47 from his 35 to set the anchor for the batting innings. However, small contributions only from a lot of his teammates and consistent wickets meant the total never fully accelerated until some late hitting from Matthew Ford with 27 from 11 and Shamar Springer 16 from 9. Gave some respectability to the scoreline as they took 40 from the last 3 overs. It meant the West Indies tallied up 7 for 151 from their 20 overs, a total that was looking reasonably competitive, but you wouldn't have been confident if you're a West Indian fan. Rashid Khan was the best of the bowlers, claiming the key wicket of King and finishing with a miserly 2 for 13 from his 4 overs, including 13 dot balls and no boundaries. Rashid Khan doing Rashid Khan things. In the chase, Afghanistan looked like they could well be on target with an opening stand of 72 by the midpoint of the innings. Gave them the perfect launch pad. However, a stymied run rate from there and a flow of wickets saw the team collapse to be 16 runs short of the target at the end of their innings. The most notable strip through there was a 16-ball period where Afghanistan lost 5 for 19 to crash out of contention. That was headlined by a hat-trick for Shamar Springer to start the 19th over when things looked in the balance, and it all but sealed the win for his side. He finished with 4 for 20 from his 5 overs and was the pick of the Caribbean bowling attack. The hat-trick including the key wicket of opener and top run scorer Ramanullah Gurbaz, who departed for 71 and looked like he may have been the anchor that would have steered Afghanistan home just before that. The spin bowling all-rounder Springer became the third West Indies player after Jason Holder and Romario Shepherd to take a hat-trick in men's T20 internationals, and it sealed the victory for the West Indies, meaning that the 3-match T20 series finishes 2-1 in Afghanistan's favour. We now move on to the Under-19s World Cup, but we keep the West Indian theme flowing, and we went to Windhoek in Namibia for second spot in Group D being on the line, their final pool match for these two sides. West Indies won the toss and elected to bat, and despite a constant flow of wickets, including a feast of 3 wickets in the 23rd over for JJ Basson, the West Indies innings was held together by an impressive better than a runner ball century for Zachary Carter, who finished with 114 from 104 balls and was absolutely backbone of this innings with 8 fours and 8 sixes contributing to his century. No other West Indian, though, managed to pass 30, and only 4 others reached double figures, and 5 departed for 2 runs or less, which meant the West Indies were severely hampered and limited. They were all out in the end for 234, which looked like it could be tough to defend, but may just be enough to be competitive if their bowling unit could get things started. Unsurprisingly, JJ Basson was the pick of the South African bowlers, with 5 for 23 from his 10 overs, including 2 maidens, really restricting that West Indian scoreline. The South African chase did get off to a decent start, but consistent wickets challenged their momentum as medium fast bowler Shaquan Bell was a handful. He claimed 6 wickets throughout the innings to never allow South Africa to get on top of their chase. Jewel Andrew, the wicketkeeper for West Indies, was consistently kept in the game with 4 catches and involvement in a run-out. And South Africa could never establish a partnership of any note to give solidarity to their chase, and it quickly became apparent their backs were against the wall as Bell began to clean up the tail. The South Africans eventually all out for 30 in the 38th over for 179, finishing 55 runs short of the West Indies and consigning the South Africans to must-win cricket in the Super Sixes as they carry 0 points through to the next stage. Their only win during the group stage was against Tanzania, and those points will not carry as Tanzania did not qualify. For Pakistan and Zimbabwe was the second game, and it was their final group game of the World Cup in Harare for the hosts as well. But it was an interesting manner that Pakistan secured the win, which funnily managed to secure Zimbabwe's qualification to the Super 6 stage as well, taking advantage of tournament rules to give themselves the best net run rate possible in the next stage of the competition. Zimbabwe qualifying through on net run rate, along with Pakistan in Group C, came at the expense of Scotland, who looked poised to qualify at the midway point of Pakistan's chase of a small target of 129. However, Pakistan, realising the tactics and the opportunity afforded to them, slowed down significantly from the end of the 14th over and ultimately got the target in 26.2 overs. Noting, had they won before 25.2 overs, Scotland, not Zimbabwe, would have qualified for the Super Sixes. Pakistan had earlier beaten Scotland with just 6.5 overs to spare. However, they were poised to get a much larger win against Zimbabwe, and one that benefits them in the Super 6 stage more significantly with Zimbabwe qualifying from the group. With Pakistan taking the game to the 27th over, they take advantage of carrying the net run rate bonus they got against Zimbabwe forward, whereas the points and net run rate bonus they would have got against Scotland do not carry forward now because Scotland have been eliminated. It would have been the other way around had Scotland gone through, and they would have just had that 6.5 overs to spare, not 23.4 over boost. More crucially, they also deprived England, who finished top of Group C, of the big net run rate boost they got by beating Scotland by 252 runs in the group stage. And that could be the difference when it comes down to semi-final positions later on. Nathaniel Halabanga had played a lone hand earlier on for Zimbabwe with 59 from 85. As only 2 of his other teammates scored in double digits as they were routed for just 128. Unsurprisingly, Ali Raza, again the pick of Pakistan's bowlers, with 3 for 16 from 8 overs, including 4 maidens. That's 4 out of 8 overs bowled for no runs conceded. A brilliant effort, and you can see why he's so highly touted. For Pakistan, with the bat, Samir Minhas, he's very much highly vaunted coming into the tournament, and he dominated the batting innings with 74 not out from 75 as he steered his side to a tactical masterstroke win and into the Super 6 stage with all of the advantages they could take. The final clash of overnight action was the tightest in terms of results as Ireland and Japan clashed with a Super 6 berth on the line in Windhoek. Japan won the toss and they elected to bat first and build a decent innings that probably could have offered some more if some players who made starts went on with their scores. 5 Japanese batters made it past 20 runs, with only Gabriel Hara-Hintz and his brother Charlie Hara-Hintz making a decent go of their innings. Gabriel, batting at 9, got 44 from 29 balls, while Charlie, batting higher up the innings at 4, got 57 from 70, a solid performance from him. And again, allowing Japan to set that total of 9 for 247, which looked like it may have been competitive and potentially defensible. The bowling of Oliver Riley with 3 wickets and Adam Leckie with 3 wickets were the notable wicket takers for Ireland. However, the Irish batting lineup showed their resilience. They did have some batters who decided to capitalise. 3 40-plus scores, including opener keeper Freddie Ogilvie, who got 73 from 76. All-rounder Adam Leckie, who'd already taken 3 wickets, picking up 44 from 57. And Sebastian Dijkstra, 55 not out from 61, being enough to steer them home in a tight finish, which saw them reach their target on the final ball of the 48th over, with 12 deliveries to spare and secure a Super 6 berth. That means with wrapping everything that happened overnight, it's time for the look ahead. And we've got the Under-19 World Cup, 2 games to pick apart. Bangladesh versus the USA. It's a win or go home one, this one. Despite the likelihood that points and net run rate from this game won't carry forward, as the loser will be eliminated, the winner of this game will likely finish second in the group due to the fact that New Zealand's had 2 washouts in their game and now play India in their clash. Should it go to a washout again here, both of these sides, if New Zealand lose to India, could go through on their points at the moment. It will just depend on how it all washes up. It'll come down to net run rate as well. Finally, Australia and Sri Lanka in the under-19s. This is a big one. Both sides are guaranteed to get through and will want to ensure they get the best boosts to points and net run rate. A win here means another 2 points plus a net run rate boost to go through into that Super 6 stage. And in the end, that could actually determine who's making or missing semi-finals at the end of the group stage, at the end of Super 6 stage, on net run rate. Australia need the win. Their net run rate is inferior to Sri Lanka's at the moment and will take a further hit considering most of their net run rate gains so far came from their big win over Japan, who've now been eliminated. It's time for Australia's guns with BBL and first-class experience to step up, most notably their captain with Ollie Peake. In other cricket today and tonight, coming ahead in the next 24 hours, the Big Bash, the Challenger, Hobart head to Sydney after having led the league for most of the season. They slipped to third just before finals and got past Melbourne in a tight rain-affected game a couple of nights ago. The experience of Hobart in big games is matched by the abilities of big game players on the other side like Steve Smith and Mitch Starc. The Hurricanes may well be without Nathan Ellis and possibly Chris Jordan, their English import, and may need the likes of Riley Meredith to start again. Both Nathan Ellis and Chris Jordan will be fitness tests on game day. If they can find a chink in the armour of Sydney, it may be the youthful exuberance and inexperience of the Sydney Sixers middle order. Joel Davies, Jack Edwards and Lachlan Shaw the likely targets. However, if it doesn't come off, they're all big hitters who can clear the fence and it could be all over for Hobart's title defence. Or for Sydney, they'll be without Babar Azam, who's been recalled by Pakistan for international duties. But in reality, that could be a blessing because let's be honest, the Pakistan super hitter has never really fired in his first season in Magenta. The Sixers will lean into the experience of players like Smith, Starc, Josh Philippe and the like as they look to return to the final this season and book a second trip to Perth inside a week with victory at the SCG tonight. It's all on the line. It's a close one. I think I'll lean to the Sixers at home at the SCG. We've also got the BPL, the Bangladesh Premier League final tonight. Chattogram will take on Rajshahi in the final in the late hours of Friday night into the early hours of Saturday. Chattogram were the first through to the final with a win over Rajshahi in the qualifying final 3 days ago. They were led by their captain Mahidi Hassan with a rapid 19 off 9 balls late hitting to get his home side home in a chase of 134 with just 3 balls to spare. And again, his economic bowling earlier on with 2 for 20 from 4 overs had really contributed towards the fact of only chasing such a small target. Rajshahi, meanwhile, they had to take the long route after that loss, playing against the Sylhet Titans in the preliminary final. Kane Williamson led the way with the bat with 45 not out from 38 deliveries, ably assisted by his Kiwi compatriot Jimmy Neesham, who blazed a late 44 from 26 to help their side set a total of 9 for 165. Then it was Sri Lankan Banura Fernando who turned the tide with a stint of 4 for 19, including 2 early wickets to have Sylhet on the ropes early as they fell 16 runs short in their chase. And this may well be a case of Rajshahi's power hitting versus Chattogram's all-round brilliance to decide this one from 11 p.m. tonight. But you'd have to think Chattogram will head in as favourites. And if that's not enough cricket for you, you want something a little earlier, 5 p.m. this afternoon, Australian Eastern Daylight Time, Ireland and Italy will kick off their T20 series, the 3-match T20 series in Dubai, as they both warm up for the T20 World Cup. You'd have to think that Ireland will head into this as favourites. Italy will be without some of their players, most notably Ben Menenti will still be on Big Bash duties as they look to prepare for the World Cup. But we're looking forward to seeing how this all shapes up. We'll get our first look at an Italian side up against, a more proven T20 side in Ireland, and it might give us a bit of an idea of whether or not they can actually rattle any cages at the T20 World Cup. But as always, a big thank you to you for tuning in. Make sure to hit like on the video if you enjoyed it. Hit subscribe if you want to keep up to date with all of your cricket daily doses. We've got plenty more content coming on other sports as well. We've got tennis, basketball, some live watch-alongs, and much, much more. But until next time, a huge thanks to you for tuning in to your home of the black and white of sport. No grey opinions here on the Chris McPherson Show.